Hello everyone, it is the start of week 27 in our 39-week school year. Let's get started with the learning that happened in our 4th grade classroom. Welcome. It is Monday, March 7th, 2022. I'm coming to you at the end of the day, and before I get to the learning that happened today, you may notice I'm wearing a very bright pink shirt, and it is for the Superintendent's 5K race that happened this weekend. So I'm going to go ahead and pause for a moment and show you some clips that highlight that eventful day. Good morning, everyone. We are at the Superintendent's 5K race for education, and we're walking to the starting line right now. And I just wanted to vlog the experience because I haven't done this in a couple of years. It's a lot of fun. Mom's here to cheer like she always does. She's my personal cheerleader. So let's go ahead and do this. As you can see, we had a lot of fun and it was an amazing event. I'm actually going to show you my medal right now. Look how beautiful it is. It has a palm tree. It has the Superintendent's 5K Challenge Race for Education 305 Day and this beautiful ribbon around it. And it was such a great event. A couple of teachers from our school, as well as one of our administrators and a couple of students, including 2 students from my classroom, were able to participate in the race. And my mom was there as always, like she is whenever I have a race, cheering me on and waiting for me at that finish line. And I just love being able to do these kind of things. And it was altogether a great event and for a good cause because it was to raise funds for education. So I'm glad I was able to take part of that. All right, let me go ahead and show you today's agenda. As you can see with the checks, we made it through everything in our agenda today. We finished our FSA reading practice test that we started last week, and the students were able to go ahead and get some feedback from me as they were finishing. And then after that, we went ahead and started our writing lesson. Today in writing, we were specifically going over revising our body paragraph topic sentences, and I made this sheet to help the students copy the topic sentence or the first sentence of their body paragraphs that they wrote in their essay, and then a space for them to revise their sentences to make sure they have their transition plus their reason or idea that answers the prompt topic. Here is the example of my paper, and here is a sentence. I actually took it from an example of another student's essay, and then we rewrote it so that it was more precise to answering the prompt topic and making sure that we're using our transition and stating the reason or idea clearly. So here's another one, and here's the third one. So again, this was a quick little sheet that I created to help the students revise their topic sentences. I also showed them a Discovery Education video on body paragraphs that was about 5 minutes long. And I love that the person in the video told the kids it's very easy to write a body paragraph once you have your topic sentences. And your topic sentences should be an answer to that prompt topic, which I tell the students to rewrite in the form of a question. So if I tell them what effects do wild animals and humans have on each other when they live in the same area, these topic sentences should answer that question. And then they can go ahead and fully explain that in their body paragraph by writing at least 3 detailed sentences that tell more about that topic sentence. So that was one way that I had the students think about it today. And of course, we will expand on that as we move on in the week. Tomorrow, the students are actually going to take another writing practice test. That is time for another 120 minutes. And that prompt we will be using as our writing mini lesson for Wednesday's writing camp. All right, then it was time for math. And in math, the students took their chapter 10 topic test. And then we went to lunch. We had recess. After that, they went to PE. And we ended the day with social studies, reading sections 5, 6, and 7 from our chapter 7 on Florida history, the Civil War to today. And this is my example of the notes that we took. So basically, I will show the students different artifacts. And they will use those artifacts to come up with a question with their partners related to the artifact. And then we will read the section. And the students will answer all 3 questions and draw a symbol to represent each section. So we read Civil War battles in Florida, the Reconstruction era in Florida, and Florida and the Spanish-American War, which I try to draw here the Cuban flag, which was the main center of the Spanish-American War. Tomorrow, the students will work on reading sections 8, 9, and 10 and completing the same activity with these sections along with their partners. So that was the learning that happened today, Monday, and I want to give you a glimpse of what I have planned for Wednesday's writing camp. This is week 2, so we are working with elaboration. I finished making the handouts today because I needed to give it to my administrator so she can make copies for the entire grade level, and they can have those papers to use during the writing camp lesson on Wednesday morning. So again, I took it to PowerPoint. So here is the cover sheet for the student notes. And over here, it goes over the focus of what we're going to be doing on this particular day. And I started by not only showing the prompt that the students will be writing to, but also showing the different parts of an essay. So I made sure I added some tips about indenting, some tips about what to do with the introduction, how we write each body paragraph, tips on to include 2 or more body paragraphs to answer the prompt topic, and how we write the conclusion. And again, talking a little bit more about what a lasting impression is. And then I moved into the parts of a body paragraph using the hamburger. So again, topic sentence, detail, 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 closing sentence. And underneath detail, I put evidence or elaboration so that the students know that that is how TREE, the acronym that we use for the body paragraphs, how it's used. And then, of course, I add plenty of ease to fully explain that body paragraph's reason or idea. And again, these are supporting details, and the topic sentence is the main idea, and the closing sentence wraps this paragraph topic up and gets us ready for the next paragraph. And then I included on the last sheet, we're going to talk about transitional phrases. So I included a list of those and the pencil elaboration strategy. I will continue to work on this presentation tomorrow and have it ready tomorrow so that on Wednesday morning it is all ready to go, but at least the handouts are ready. And I'm still trying to think of an engaging activity to work with the elaboration part of the lesson. So that's all I have for today, Monday. I'll see you tomorrow for Tuesday. Hello everyone, it is now Tuesday at the end of the day, and I'm gonna make this quick because I gotta dash out of here. Let me show you a quick glimpse of our agenda for today. Here it is. As you can see by the checks, we were able to get through pretty much everything on our agenda today. As you saw, students had 120 minutes this morning to do their writing practice test. This one was on an opinion essay, and I did write some reminders on the board. I usually don't do this, but I wanted to today. The next practice test that the students will have for 120 minutes is not until the week after spring break, which is in like 3 weeks. So that will be the last practice test that the students will have timed before they take their real test, which will be the week after that one. So these are the reminders. I made sure I reminded them to make sure they state their opinion clearly in their introduction and that they start each body paragraph with a transition. Transition plus reason equals topic sentence. So every body paragraph should have a good topic sentence. They needed to add plenty of evidence and elaboration, which evidence is proof from the sources and elaboration is more explanation in their own words about that particular point in that body paragraph. And of course, grouping similar ideas together for each body paragraph, making sure they also make reference to the sources. So I gave them some examples of how they can do that. And then to only talk about one point or reason per body paragraph and end with a satisfying conclusion that restates their opinion and gives the most important point. Then we went ahead and did our math for today. For the weekly math review, we did Monday and Tuesday together, and then we introduced chapter 11 and went over fractional parts of a circle. We took that into our bonus math time, and in bonus math, we did some IXL practice. I love that our district has put together different IXL practice problems grouped together in the chapters that we go over. So we did this first lesson today, and I had the students go over this particular skill. They will come to the board and show me what was the turn, the fraction of a turn of the circle there. And the students had an opportunity to, all of them, come to the board and show their understanding of this particular lesson. And I love it because I can just go into learning, and then I can go into skill plans. And within my skill plans, here is my district, and I can click on 4th grade, and that'll give me all of the chapters, and I can go to chapter 11, and here it is, which is on angles, and I can review all those skills within IXL with my students. I was going to do the group jam, but we just simply didn't have time to pass out the devices so the students could log on and they could all answer the problems at the same time. So I just called different students to the board to participate and gave every student an opportunity to do that. Then the students went to music, and then after music, we had social studies, and we continued reading chapter 7. This time we read 3 more sections, and this is what we completed today. So here is our reading note sheet. This is a resource that comes within the curriculum of our social studies textbook. So we read section 8, business boom in Florida. Again, they answered questions. They came up with their own question with their partner, and then answered the questions and drew a symbol to represent that section. Then we read section 9, following Florida's leaders. And section 10, land boom and bust. I have been very busy working after school to kind of wrap up my PowerPoint for tomorrow. It is a lot longer than last week's because it is jam-packed full of stuff. I will show you everything tomorrow because I got to dash out of here. And I came up with an activity for the students to do, which I'm going to have to do at home because I have run out of time and I need to go to Orange Theory. And then in the morning, I'll try to come in early to make copies of that particular sheet. All right, friends, I'm going to head on out and I will see you tomorrow. Hello everyone, we are now at the end of the day, Wednesday. It is really late. It is 6:40 p.m. I stayed late because I wanted to rearrange my desk and kind of do a new setup to kind of give the room a refresh kind of look. So this is what I have set up so far. Before, I had the desk in 4 desk clusters. I had 5 of those, but not all the students could see the front of the room. So I decided to do it like this and separate it in teams according to their chair pockets, of course. And I'm bringing back my 3 drawer carts, and I put the bins on top. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave them there, but I am going to put them there so they can put their lunch boxes and water bottles in there. And then in the bin after school, they can put their chair pockets in there and empty them, put their notebooks in the 2 bottom bins, and that'll help with organization at the end of the day. I used to do that, but I want to bring it back. And that way, instead of putting their chairs on top of their desk, the students can stack their chairs and leave it in a pile so that in the morning they unstack the chairs and put them behind their desk. Back here, where these carts were all back here in a row. I put my little IKEA table here with these little stools that I have gotten some time ago from Five Below. This is an IKEA plant as well as that pot. So this is Five Below and IKEA right here as a form of a little kind of small flexible seating area for the students. Maybe they'll like that. We'll see. I still haven't decided what I want to put here, but for now I'll leave it just as it is. And I eventually want to get rid of these carts and put the wobble cushions somewhere else so that students can access them if they need it. And the bottom boxes, I need to put those away as well. As you can see, that was a lot of work. But let me go ahead and take you to our agenda for today. As you can see, this is what we planned for the day. And with the checks, you see that we got through everything that we planned with the exception of social studies. We got through half of that because of time. So tomorrow I'll squeeze in some time so that I can go over those last 2 sections with the students and we can wrap up our reading notes for chapter 7 on Florida history. All right, so let me go ahead and show you the big event that happened this morning, which was writing camp week 2. I kind of told you yesterday that I will show you the PowerPoint today along with the elaboration activity that I created last night when I went home. And yes, I came this morning with enough time to try to make the copies, and I did make the copies for all of fourth grade. So that was the activity, the hands-on activity that they worked on at the end of my lesson this morning during writing camp. Here is the PowerPoint. Again, I'm using this template from Slides Mania, but I did add previously on writing camp. And we reviewed how we analyzed the prompt with APT 123, how we used the front and back of the planning sheet, as well as remembering that we need to plan is very important, and how to group similar details together using buckets. So for today's lesson, we were going over opinion essays and specifically going over these three things: the parts of a body paragraph, using effective transitions, and elaboration strategies. This was the prompt, so I made sure that we unwrapped it while we were together in the cafeteria, so it was at the top of their mind. And we started with section 1, the parts of a body paragraph. But in order to go over that, I made sure I went over the parts of an essay and the purpose for each part. And then I went over TREE, which we use for each body paragraph. That's our little acronym. And I used the hamburger as an illustration of the type of paragraph that they need to make. I specifically let them know that the hamburger that they're making is not for them to eat, because eventually the teacher is the one that's going to read the paper, or the reader, whoever they're writing to. So they want to make the best, juiciest burger that that person would want to eat. So they need to make sure they include the top bun, which is the topic sentence made together with the transition and reason or idea, followed up with lots of details, which are in the form of evidence or elaboration. So we have the tomato, the lettuce, the ketchup, the protein patty, the cheese, and the bottom bun is the closing sentence, which wraps up that particular body paragraph's idea. And we add enough evidence and elaboration to fully explain that topic for that paragraph. So then I went ahead and went over how we can bucket the evidence for this particular opinion essay prompt. So this is for the opinion that schools should not require students to get good grades in order to participate or play in after-school sports or sports after school. And then from there, I show them how to take it from these buckets and turn each bucket into a topic sentence. Then I show them, once you have your topic sentence, all you have to do is write 3 or more details to further explain that main idea, because the topic sentence is a main idea sentence. So I show them these 3 examples. And then we can take that and we form a fully fledged paragraph, which has transition, reason, evidence, elaboration, which is our TREE acronym. Then I went ahead and showed them how I would do it for the opposing opinion that, yes, schools should require students to get good grades in order to play sports after school. So these were the 2 buckets that I showed them, followed by the topic sentences for each of those buckets, and doing the same thing that I did with the previous topic sentence, elaborating and adding evidence to fully support that. And this is the paragraph that we built together, which again, transition, reason. This time I started with elaboration instead of evidence, so they know that they could do that, followed by evidence to support that, elaboration, evidence, and elaboration. So then we went into wrapping up this section, why it's important to build a meaty, juicy paragraph full of details made of evidence and elaboration. Then we moved on to the second session, which was on using effective transitions. So I show them all this information about transitions and how to use them effectively, as well as a list of transitional phrases, which they also had in their writing camp handout. And to wrap up this section, I make sure I let them know this most important part of transitions. Finally, we made it to the last part of our lesson, which was the focus, which was elaboration techniques. And I explained why elaboration was important, as well as going over the pencil elaboration strategy and the transitions that can help students do each of these types of elaboration. So in order to really explain to students how we can use the pencil strategy, I went back to one of those topic sentences from before, and I showed them examples of how I can go ahead and elaborate on this point that allowing kids to play sports keeps them active and healthy. So I showed them what a prediction will look like, what an example, non-example, comparison, imagination, and life experience would look like as it pertains to this particular topic. Then it was time for them to do the activity and elaborate. I went over the directions as well as how the sheet looked, which I'm going to show you right now. And then I didn't get to do this part because we ran out of time. Since we're in the cafeteria, some of our first grade classes were coming in for lunch since it's Wednesday and it's early release. So I did send this PowerPoint to my fourth grade teachers so they can go over these last few slides with the students to wrap up today's lesson, which reviews the important tips as well as everything we went over today as a review. And that is the end of the presentation. So here is that paper right here. So I did put that writing prompt right here. And each side has a different opinion. So this side is for the opinion that schools should not require students to get good grades in order to play sports after school. And the opposite side is that schools should require students to get good grades in order to play sports after school. So students had a choice. They could choose this opinion or this opinion. Whichever they chose, they looked at each of these topic sentences. And I also added evidence from the sources that supported this topic. And they just had to choose one elaboration sentence to fully explain this idea or the evidence using the pencil strategy. So here's one, here's the other one. And on the back, we have this one and this one. I'm really happy with how this activity came out. The teachers told me that that was amazing. I had really great feedback. So I'm very happy I was able to make it and that students were starting to get an understanding of how do we elaborate. So of course, the teacher is going to continue this lesson in their classroom for the rest of the week, and they can continue making sure that students use these strategies to help them elaborate more on what they're trying to write in their essay. So yeah, that's the bulk of today, but I wanted to make sure I took time to show you all the work I put into this writing camp lesson and how I put it together. And hopefully it'll help someone out there, whoever is watching this video. All right, then it was time to come back to the classroom. We had our snack time. Then we started introducing Unit 5, Week 1 in Wonders. And we went over the essential question, the study sync. I did the read aloud to the students, and we did the shared read, the first read. And we had really great discussions because it was about a science topic about looking up close and how we can learn just by looking through a microscope. They saw a grain of sugar and how it looked magnified, even fingerprints, and they were amazed. And of course, we also saw how geckos use the tiny hairs at the pads of their feet in order to stick upside down on the ceiling or wherever they are traveling through. So that was really exciting. And then it was time for math. And in math, we went over degrees, and I showed the students how to use a protractor. And that brought us to the end of the day, Thursday, which we ended up doing 2 sections of our Florida history lesson. So we did Florida and the Great Depression and Florida and World War II. So tomorrow I'm going to try to carve some time in so we can do Florida and the Civil Rights Movement. And then in the back, we're going to do Florida in the Space Age. And again, that'll wrap up Chapter 7 so that we can then do a review and the students can take the test. All right, my friends, that is a jam-packed Wednesday. Thank you for sticking around. Now we're going to move on to Thursday. Hello, everyone. We are now at the end of the day on Thursday, and boy, has it been a day. I had to really juggle my afternoon because I had to go to a Zoom training on ELA, and it was an important one and the last one of the year. I was initially going to split my class in the afternoon, but one of my colleagues was actually sick today, so I had to split her class up, which meant that I had to do the Zoom training while still having my students for part of the afternoon. Which again, it's a lot to juggle, but you know what? We got through it. So let me give you a glimpse of our agenda and the learning that happened in our classroom today. Here we are, as you can see by the checks. We got through pretty much everything here in reading and writing. And in math, we didn't have enough time for investigating joint and separate angles. So I will do it for tomorrow. And then the rest of the afternoon is what it is. My training started at the end of the students' lunchtime, but I was able to get some help from my fellow colleagues. One of them picked up my class from the cafeteria, brought them to my classroom. The kids immediately sat down and continued working on their mid-chapter checkpoint because they needed more time for that. And then I had another colleague take my kids to art and then bring them back from art. But when she got them from art, I also, because that's another thing about today, lots of things to juggle, It was also class picture day, and I tried to ask for an earlier time because I knew in the afternoon it was going to be kind of almost impossible, but we made it work. I had a little break in my afternoon session, so when the students got out of art, they immediately went to the cafeteria. I was there. I put them in order. I gave them their photo cards, and then we got them all set up, and we took our picture, and then I ran back upstairs to continue the training, and then my colleague brought them back to the classroom, and they worked independently on a science assignment, which was basically to reread 3 of the lessons on energy and motion that we have already read and discussed and answer the lesson check for each of those so that they can have that nice review, because the next thing they need to do, which will happen tomorrow, is take the lesson quiz for that topic. All right, so I sound like I'm saying a lot, but it's been a long day. Let's start with what happened in reading. We reread the shared selection and took notes, as well as answered the fine text evidence questions on the entire selection. We went over the vocabulary words and the vocabulary context clue strategy, which were back at antonyms. We practiced summarizing parts of the text. We talked about how the photographs and captions in the selection contributed to the text. And we focused on the text structure of chronological order. Then we practiced those vocabulary words by having students take turns and answer these questions on the board. There were a total of 18 different vocabulary questions to review not just this unit, but previous units and vocabulary skills. And that's what happened in reading. Then it was time for writing. So I went ahead and went back to our Wild Among Us informative essay from last week, because I want the students to go back to the activity where they sorted all the text evidence that I gave them when they worked in groups and put different titles for each grouping of evidence. So today I needed them to take it a bit further and choose one of those groups to write a body paragraph for that particular grouping, therefore reinforcing the writing skills that I went over in yesterday's writing camp. So I have them all here in our circular table on our classroom library, and I gave students this paper that I'm going to show you. So as you can see, this one, for example, had positive and negative effects. So I had them choose one bucket. But for mine, I had initially grouped these together as helping each other and these on learn about them. And because nobody had done this grouping and I was the only one, I decided to use this as my example model. I gave each team this construction paper that I had folded in half, and I pasted these 2 different sheets. So it has the topic on the top. I gave them a bucket so they can choose their bucket and write the title for the bucket and some of the evidence that supports that bucket, and then have them go here on this page so that they can start writing their body paragraph. And of course, they have to start with their topic sentence, which starts with a transition, followed by the reason or idea for that particular body paragraph. Here is one of the group's examples. So they're working on negative effects, and they started with this topic sentence. Here is another group. They did effects on animals, and this is their topic sentence. This one was focusing on benefits, and they wrote their topic sentence here. And here is another group. They also chose negative, and this is their paragraph so far. The students are not done, so they'll continue working on this activity tomorrow. And I'm very happy to getting to work in groups and applying some of the skills that I went over in yesterday's writing camp. All right, then it was time for math. And in math, we did our weekly math review, as well as having the students do their mid-chapter checkpoint. And then it was time for the afternoon. So I already told you my afternoon. So that is all I have for you for today, Thursday, because I'm going to get ready to put the new agenda on the board for tomorrow and get ready to go to Orange Theory. So I'll see you tomorrow for Friday. Hello friends, we have made it to the end of the day, Friday. Let me show you a quick glimpse of our agenda. Here are all the different things that we have planned for today and from the checks, except the arrows. You can see that we got through pretty much everything. The arrows show things we didn't get to and are being moved for next week. That's right. We didn't get to a couple of things just because of time. As you saw, I jam-packed my morning with reading activities. So we went ahead and finished our weekly language review. We did Wednesday and Thursday, so we reviewed those skills. And then the students went ahead and completed their chronology organizer in the reading writing workshop. And they went ahead and took their vocabulary workshop Unit 9 test. That led us to the anchor text, A Drop of Water, which is a very long informational text. So I knew I wasn't going to get through all of it. And we had a lot of fun with it because it talked about water molecules and what happens in a liquid, a solid, and a gas form in the molecules. So that led me to make sure students understood what molecules were. So we went to Brain Pop and Vocabulary, and I showed them a video about atoms. And in both videos, they got to see not only the periodic table and how the elements are arranged, but they also understood that molecules are a group of one or more atoms that make up different elements that we find on Earth. And some of them, of course, are created by scientists in labs. But that led them to really understand the process by which the text was explaining what a water drop goes through. So they got so engaged into the lesson and the reading that they didn't want to stop, but I really had to stop because I needed to give some time for writing. And in writing today, we continue with the paragraph that I showed you yesterday. I did speak to one team that I needed them to revise their paragraph so that they were more on track. And I gave them back, I don't know why I didn't do it yesterday. I gave them back that essay so that they saw what they wrote under original essay and what they have been working under with the revisions so that they can work on that. They haven't finished, so I am moving the activity to complete it by Monday. So yeah, some of the teams did complete it. So those teams that did complete the paragraph can just add a second paragraph on Monday to the mix. All right, then it was time for math. And in math, we were looking at joint and separate angles and also finding unknown angle measures, which they kind of understood. So I'm very happy. So on Monday, we're going to do a chapter review on that chapter so they are ready for the test. And then at the end of the day, as you can see, we went over our last science lesson quiz for topic 4 and the topic test. I am behind in science. I'm slowly trying to catch up. And that's where we are for the day. I don't know if I have any highlights to show you other than all of these boxes that arrived today. The students, of course, wanted me to open all the boxes with them, but we just didn't have time today, so I am leaving it till Monday. I told them I won't open anything. I'll do it while you guys are here because these are things that I ordered as part of the classroom funds that our state gives us for being classroom teachers, and I hadn't ordered mine and the deadline was last week, but good thing I did order it in time and these things came in right on time. So can't wait to do that with the kids next week. Another thing I wanted to mention that, as you can see, I'm wearing yellow. I'm wearing the shirt that says, when you can't find the sunshine, be the sunshine. Today, the staff and students were asked to wear a yellow shirt so that we can stand with Ukraine and everything that's happening over there. So my heart goes out to everyone that is experiencing that at the moment. So we were able to do that today. So that's all I have for week 27. Thank you so much for coming along with me. Next week will be week 28, which is the last week before spring break. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought or any questions you may have. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell for notifications so you don't miss any future videos. I hope you have a beautiful, magical day, and don't forget to smile. Hello, dreamers, wishers, and magical thinkers. Thank you so much for making it to the very end of this video and for showing your support. If you'd like to subscribe, you can do so by clicking on my picture down here. You can also check out my latest videos here and here. Don't forget to believe in the magic that's inside you because you are capable of great things. See you next time.